Hi, we moved on to ritual number 4. So we're now at impact and action. So we just finished creating and declaring what we want as our big vision, our 10-year, 5-year, 1-year, and even quarterly goals and plans. We've created our strategy plan and we've empowered ourselves by declaring it first on a piece of paper, and then the next step is actually declaring it out to the world. So tell a friend, go on a Facebook Live, hold yourself accountable. There is actually no purpose in creating these strategies and the plans if you're not going to declare it, and then the next step today, take some action. Otherwise it gets sitting there, or it gets thrown up on a shelf somewhere in the corner, and you feel like it's unattainable. Really, declare it and now start taking action. Now before we take action, let's think about, through our process of understanding what our strategy plan is, we really need to understand also what it's like to flip the thought from just focusing on ourselves. Now, it's important to focus on ourselves, and I understand that that's why you're here. But the first 3 rituals, we did that. What we want to understand now is, what is our actual purpose and what legacy do we want to leave in our personal lives, in the community around us, and then also in the world on a global scale. Now, you might be thinking again in that self-doubt, sort of one-dimensional mindset, thinking, well, there's only little old me. How am I going to make all that impact in the world? Shh. Let's get back to infinity thinking. Remember, for your mind, if anything was possible, and anything is possible, if you had no fear, no doubt, no insecurity, and had all the resources and support in the world, which is what you're gaining right now, what would you do? What type of legacy would you lead? So, given that, I'd like you to start understanding that in a world that is highly absorbed by the self-development, self-help, selfies, let's flip it for a second from the self and flip outwards into something called empathy. So empathy being looking out to the world and understanding what those needs are. What can you do in your personal life? What can you do while you create your business or lead your teams that is allowing you to create more impact? So again, going back to your acceleration guide, I'd like you to go in there and really take the time to answer the questions that are there. There's no wrong answers. This is just what you're feeling. This is starting to maybe open up some things that you haven't seen before. So I'll give you my example again, as like I do in every ritual. I've always done things where I feel like I'm giving back to society. So whether that was creating or co-founding the first health and wellness center, the executive health and wellness center here, or the medical spa to help people who had gone through skin issues and problems, and really empathizing what it was like for them, or also going on a global scale. When the 2008 crisis hit, I was recruited on LinkedIn. Someone in the Italian government had found me and said, please come out here. We'd like you to create possibility-minded seminars so that our youth doesn't feel like they're going to go bankrupt, as did Greece. Now, that sounded like a huge project to take on, and I thought about it, and I thought, well, there's only one of me. But then I really started to shift away from my fear and my doubt and started to take on the fact that, well, these people had found me and had presented this project to me. Although it didn't really in my mind seem right at the time, I really thought, well, what better way to make change than to make some mindset change with the leaders of your country. Now, they had proposed working with children. Now, I love children. They're innocent, they're fun, they're great. But typically, when we're trying to make real change, or we're trying to really create some, I guess, educational or mindset reform in a country, let alone just in a classroom, I thought the best way to start was to start with the leaders of the country. So the CEOs of the companies that were made in Italy, maybe some of the university professors there, some really influential people in the country. And once that mindset shift happened, then it would start trickling down. And once that did happen, we could start with the youth program and have them rise up. And then they'd meet at that balance point. Now, if I sat there and thought, I'm just going to sit into the box that they gave me. The proposal was given to me like this. It doesn't really jive with what I like, so either I'm going to take it, that's my only choice, or my second choice is not to take it because I actually don't like the approach. Well, I didn't do that. I actually thought, what greater legacy can I leave here? I would love to have this opportunity, A, to make a difference and create something bigger than just myself, And also, hey, who wouldn't want to go to Italy and create a project like this? It was my dream country, and so the things that I'd written in my vision to be in the Mediterranean were all coming to life. So, by seizing the day, I created a counter proposal, and I went to them and I actually brought up the fact that I'd like to start with the leaders. They loved it. We went back and forth on a couple of meetings and strategy plans, and boom, there I was. Now, in my mind, I wanted to be there for a lot longer. It was where I wanted to live. It's where I could envision myself being, but I only got a contract to create for 4 months. In my mind, I visualized being there for 10 years or for longer. So I created a proposal that would allow me to do as much as possible in the 4 months that I was there. Now, what happened? Well, I've already told you I've lived there for about 6 years, so that 4 years turned into 6 years, as it does, because I was able to envision myself for a longer period of time, and I wanted to create more global impact. So, what I'd like you to do in this process is to step away from thinking small. I'd like you to start by thinking about what you're going to do with your own personal impact in your life and what legacy you'd like to leave maybe with your family or your friends around you. Then I'd like you to open up the circle and go a little bit broader and start thinking about the community around you. And then I'd really like you to start thinking from that infinity thinking standpoint. Again, we're going back to that and start raising the bar to thinking, what can we do and what can you create in your life or in your business that's really going to take on a more impactful mission or movement throughout the world? So have a good time with this one. Again, everything is fun and factual, and you are going to see some shifts if you actually stick to committing to yourself and go forward in letting me hold you accountable through all these videos every day. So I will see you in the next one.